Chosen one, listen closely, because if these words are reaching you right now, it is not an accident, not a coincidence, not a random moment in your scrolling. This is a divine interception, a spiritual summons, a whisper from the higher realms that has been trying to reach you through dreams, signs, silence, and the strange unraveling of people around you. You didn't find this message. This message found you. It has been looking for you, following you, waiting for the exact second your spirit was ready to hear what heaven has been trying to reveal. You've been wondering why the closer you get to your breakthrough, the more relationships crumble. Why people who once stood beside you suddenly fade, shift, or disappear. Why the energy feels heavier, the nights feel longer, and the silence feels louder. You've questioned yourself. You've questioned your path. You've questioned the timing of it all. And secretly, you've wondered if something is wrong with you. But chosen one, nothing is wrong with you. You are in a sacred phase where the universe is cleaning your environment. And the loss you're experiencing is not rejection. It is preparation. It is divine reorganization. It is heaven making room for what you prayed for. And chosen one, before we go deeper, pause for a moment, hit subscribe, and comment. I receive this if your spirit is already responding, because this message is about to speak directly to the hidden battles your soul hasn't told anyone about. You see, right before destiny opens a door, the shadows around you get restless. People whose intentions were never pure begin to reveal themselves. Masks slip, energies shift. Connections that were only meant to accompany you for a season dissolve without warning. It feels mysterious, sudden, even painful. But in the spiritual world, it is a sign that something big is approaching, something aligned, something long overdue. This message comes to you in the middle of that confusion, to remind you that the storm around you is not destruction, it is transformation. It is heaven clearing space for your elevation, removing anyone who cannot walk with you into the next level. And as we move forward, chosen one, prepare yourself, because the truth behind why you lose people right before your breakthrough is deeper, sharper, and more divine than you ever imagined. A revelation is coming, and your spirit already knows it. Chosen one, there comes a moment in your journey when the divine begins moving in ways you cannot predict, cannot control, and cannot fully understand. It happens quietly at first, like a soft rearranging of the atmosphere around you. Conversations begin to feel different. Connections that once flowed effortlessly begin to feel strained. People you once leaned on suddenly feel distant, unavailable, or emotionally muted. And you find yourself wondering, why does everything feel like it's shifting at the same time? But chosen one, this is the sacred moment of spiritual pruning. The moment where heaven steps in and begins trimming away what can no longer travel with you into your next level. You see, spiritual pruning is not gentle. It rarely announces itself. It does not send warnings. It does not ask for your permission. It begins with silence. A silence that feels heavy, almost mysterious, because a higher hand is at work. You may feel confused, even hurt, because you're emotionally attached to those who are fading. But spiritually, this fading is protection. The separation is divine intervention. This distance is heaven stepping between you and the people, environments, or energies that would delay your destiny. Let me ask you, have you ever held on to someone long after your spirit whispered that their season in your life was over? The truth is, chosen one, heaven removes what your heart would never release on its own. This is where the pain comes in, because pruning cuts. Pruning requires letting go. Pruning exposes the parts of you that still cling to comfort, familiarity, and emotional history. But what if the very things you're holding on to are the same things that are keeping you from rising? What if the pruning is not taking from you, but freeing you? Sometimes the divine has to create distance because your destiny is too important to be contaminated by old patterns, old attachments, or old versions of you. When spiritual pruning begins, you might feel like you're losing everything all at once. But in reality, you're being realigned. You're being positioned. You're being prepared for something that requires clarity, space, and emotional maturity. Chosen one, this pruning is not punishment, it is preparation. It is a sacred editing of your life, a divine refinement, a holy restructuring of your environment so that only what serves your next chapter can remain. And think about it. How can the universe bring new blessings into a space that is still occupied by what drains you? The people who are being removed are not being taken randomly. They are being lifted out of your path because they cannot walk with you into the future you've been praying for. Their energy does not match the frequency you are rising into. Their intentions cannot survive the altitude you are moving toward. Their presence would interfere with your growth, your peace, your elevation. Spiritual pruning is heaven saying, I know what you cannot see, I know where you're going, and I know who cannot go with you. So chosen one, instead of asking, why are they leaving? Begin asking, what am I being prepared for? Feel the shift, honor the release, trust the pruning. This is the universe clearing your path, refining your spirit, and protecting your destiny. And though it feels like loss right now, one day you will look back and realize that every separation was an answered prayer, every distance was divine direction, and every cut was shaping you into the version of yourself that your purpose has been waiting for. Chosen one, there comes a time in your spiritual evolution when the world around you no longer fits the way it used to. You begin to rise internally before anything changes externally, and that rise creates a shift in your energy, your awareness, your sensitivity, your discernment. Suddenly, the conversations that once entertained you feel draining. The people you once felt connected to now feel strangely distant. The spaces that once brought comfort begin to feel too small for the soul you are becoming. Tell me, have you felt that quiet disconnection, that subtle pulling away, that sense that your spirit is outgrowing the environment around you? This is what happens when incompatible energies start revealing themselves. It's not dramatic, it's not loud, it's not even personal, it's spiritual. Because as your frequency rises, the energies that operate at a lower vibration cannot stay attached. They begin to feel heavy, they begin to feel chaotic. Misunderstandings arise without warning, tension forms without explanation. And no matter how much effort you put into maintaining the connection, it no longer sits right in your spirit. Have you ever noticed how your intuition becomes louder right when someone's true alignment with you becomes weaker? Chosen one, this is spiritual physics. High vibrations cannot remain entangled with low vibrations, not without something breaking, dimming, or shrinking. And heaven refuses to let you be the thing that shrinks. When your calling intensifies, when your purpose accelerates, when your inner light starts burning brighter, the universe begins escorting incompatible energies out of your life. But it happens quietly, gracefully, almost invisibly. Because divine protection rarely announces itself in loud ways. It simply moves what is not aligned out of the path of what is destined. You may feel sadness because these shifts aren't always with negative people. Sometimes it's someone you care for deeply, someone who helped you once, someone who shared a season of your life. But chosen one, alignment has nothing to do with history. It has everything to do with destiny. And some souls simply cannot breathe the rarefied air of the season you are stepping into. They cannot match the purity of intention, the strength of character, the clarity of purpose, or the spiritual endurance required for where you're going next. So when people begin to fade, when conversations feel forced, when the connection feels misaligned despite your effort, pause and ask yourself, is this a sign of disconnection, or is this divine redirection? What if this distance is not a loss, but a clearing? What if heaven is removing the noise so your spirit can rise without interruption? What if the people walking away are actually being guided away, not to hurt you, but to honor your next level? Chosen one, incompatible energies are removed not because they are bad, but because they cannot serve your elevation. They cannot support the weight of your purpose. They cannot survive the altitude of your transformation. And the higher you rise, the more selective the universe becomes about what and who is allowed to go with you. So trust the shifts, trust the distance, trust the discomfort, trust the emotional fading. Your spirit is expanding, your calling is intensifying, and the universe is clearing the atmosphere around you so nothing can interfere with the person you are becoming. Let heaven reorganize your connections. Let your intuition guide you through the transition. And remember, if the energy cannot breathe in your future, it will not be allowed to remain in your present. Chosen one, when a breakthrough is near, the spiritual atmosphere around you begins to shift long before anything becomes visible. It is as if heaven starts rearranging the unseen, preparing your soul for something your eyes cannot yet perceive. You start to feel things more intensely. You pick up on energies more quickly. Your intuition becomes sharper, like a whisper from the divine that refuses to be ignored. Have you felt that recently? That strange sensitivity, that sudden awareness, that sense that life is moving even when everything looks still on the outside. These changes are not coincidences. They are indicators that something divine is unfolding beneath the surface. You may feel emotional restlessness, like your spirit is pacing inside a room your old self has outgrown. Your routines begin to feel too small, too predictable, too limiting. The identity you've worn for years suddenly feels outdated, almost like clothes that no longer fit who you are becoming. And you might even ask yourself, why does everything feel unfamiliar, even though nothing has changed? But chosen one, everything has changed. Inside you, your future is pressing against your spirit, asking to be born. As this inner transformation occurs, you may also notice an increase in external disruptions. Relationships shift without warning. Conversations you once tolerated now drain your energy. People who once felt aligned begin to distance themselves. Even your own thoughts may feel heavier, more reflective, more questioning. These disruptions are not meant to break you. They are spiritual contractions. Just like birth, before something destined enters your reality, everything tightens, stretches, and rearranges. The pressure you feel is not punishment, it is preparation. You might also find yourself encountering unusual obstacles. Delays, blocks, misunderstandings, unexpected challenges. And you may wonder, why is everything suddenly becoming harder right when I'm trying to move forward? But chosen one, pressure increases right before elevation. Attacks intensify right before breakthrough. Chaos rises right before clarity. When the enemy senses your next level, it tries to disturb your peace, distract your focus, and drain your energy. But heaven allows just enough resistance to strengthen you, never enough to destroy you. At the same time, moments of sudden clarity begin appearing in areas where you were once confused. You start seeing patterns you missed before. You begin understanding lessons that once felt impossible. You see the truth in people's intentions, the reality of your path, and the deeper meaning behind every setback. It's almost as if God is turning on lights inside your mind one by one. Have you noticed this illumination? The sense that your understanding is expanding without effort? Chosen one, these are all signs. Signs that destiny is approaching. Signs that your spirit is aligning with the future written for you. Signs that the universe is actively orchestrating something in your favor. When everything around you feels unstable, when the old no longer holds you, when your soul feels like it's stretching beyond its limits, it is because you are on the edge of something greater. And here's the paradox. When everything feels like it's falling apart, it's often heaven assembling something far more powerful. The breakdown is the doorway to the breakthrough. The tension is the confirmation. The restlessness is the signal. You are not losing control. You are entering alignment. You are not being abandoned. You are being prepared. You are not being delayed. You are being positioned. So breathe, chosen one. Trust what is shifting. Trust what is leaving. Trust what is becoming clear. Because these signs are not random. They are divine. They are precise. They are personal. And they are all pointing to one truth. Your breakthrough is near, closer than you think. Chosen one. Sudden endings are some of the most jarring experiences on your spiritual path. They arrive without warning, without closure, without explanation. One day someone is present, connected, woven into your daily rhythm. And the next day it feels as if the thread between you has been quietly cut. And you find yourself wondering, what happened? What did I do? Why did this shift so suddenly? But chosen one, in the spiritual realm, these abrupt endings are rarely accidents. They are often the clearest evidence that divine timing has stepped in. You see, when someone's assignment in your life is complete, heaven does not negotiate. The divine does not prolong what would interfere with your purpose or delay your growth. It removes, it redirects, it separates. And those separations can feel like emotional earthquakes, shaking your heart in places you didn't even know were fragile. But have you ever noticed how, after the initial pain, something inside you feels lighter, clearer, almost relieved? That's because your spirit recognizes the truth long before your mind catches up. What leaves suddenly was never meant to stay permanently. Sudden endings often come through distance. Someone who once communicated daily now becomes silent. Sometimes they come through conflict, a disagreement that feels strangely final, as if it was divinely designed to push you apart. Sometimes they come through emotional withdrawal, a connection slowly fading like a candle running out of wax. And other times, it's simply intuition telling you that something has shifted, even if the words were never spoken. Let me ask you, have you ever felt a relationship crumble for no visible reason, but your soul whispered, this was meant to happen? These experiences are not abandonment, they are realignment. When heaven sees that keeping someone in your life would create confusion, stagnation, or spiritual interference, the ending becomes sudden. Because the lesson is complete, the contract is fulfilled, the energy exchange has reached its limit, and while your heart may resist the removal, your destiny requires it. Sudden endings are like doors that slam shut before you even realize you were walking down the wrong hallway. They protect you from detours disguised as comfort. They save you from investing in people who cannot meet you at your next level. They release you from connections that would eventually wound you in ways you're not prepared for. And even though it feels harsh in the moment, it is one of the most powerful forms of divine mercy. Chosen one, the speed of the ending is intentional. It is heaven saying this chapter is over. Because if the universe allowed these connections to fade slowly, you would try to fix them. You would cling to familiarity. You would negotiate with patterns that were never meant to continue. So instead, the divine moves quickly, not to hurt you, but to prevent you from holding on to something that cannot support your future. Think about it. How many people left your life suddenly, only for you to later realize that their presence would have kept you from growing? How many endings that once shattered you now make perfect sense? And how many times did the absence you didn't want become the blessing you didn't expect? Chosen one, these endings are not meant to break you. They are meant to free you, to clear your path, to protect your energy, to make space for the souls who are truly aligned with your purpose, your heart, and your destiny. What leaves quickly was never built for the long journey, and what is meant for you will not require force, fear, or fighting to stay. Trust the ending, trust the timing, trust the release, because sudden endings are not the closing of your story. They are the preparation for your becoming. Chosen one, when you begin approaching the threshold of a breakthrough, the path ahead of you does not simply open, it clears. And this clearing can feel unnerving, almost unsettling, because it often begins with subtraction instead of addition. People you once leaned on begin drifting away. Distractions that once had a grip on your mind no longer feel appealing. Toxic attachments you once tolerated suddenly lose their emotional pull. The things that used to drain your energy no longer have the same power over you. And you may find yourself asking, why does everything feel like it's disappearing at the same time? But chosen one, this is not disappearance. It is divine cleansing. This is heaven preparing the road before you. This is the universe removing anything that would interfere with the elevation you're about to step into. Every exit is intentional. Every silence is meaningful. Every distance has purpose. When your path is clearing, you are not being abandoned. You are being protected, positioned, and prepared. Let me ask you, have you ever looked back and realized that certain people leaving your life wasn't rejection, but relief? This clearing is not meant to empty your world. It is meant to purify it. It's like spiritual housekeeping, removing what is no longer aligned with your next level. Think of it as the universe sweeping away the debris of outdated identities, expired connections, and worn-out emotional patterns. You are shedding the old, not because it was meaningless, but because it has served its purpose. And now your soul is being refocused toward what will actually nourish your destiny. As this process unfolds, your internal landscape shifts as well. You begin craving peace over noise, growth over comfort, purpose over distraction. The things you once entertained now feel draining. The habits you once clung to now feel limiting. The environments you once tolerated now feel too small. This shift is not accidental. It is alignment. It is your spirit rising, expanding, awakening to the truth of who you are becoming. But the clearing doesn't only happen inside you, it happens around you. Opportunities that are not aligned with your calling quietly dissolve. Plans that were built on fear crumble so that faith can rebuild them. People who were attached to the old version of you cannot withstand the energy of the new version emerging. And the divine, in its infinite love, ensures that anything incapable of supporting your next season gently exits before you reach it. Chosen one, this path clearing is sacred. It is strategic. It is a sign that you are closer to your breakthrough than you realize. The universe is not taking from you, it is making room. It is not shrinking your world, it is preparing it. It is not emptying your life, it is refining the energy surrounding you so that when your blessing arrives, your spirit is ready to receive it fully, without interference or confusion. And think about it. How can new relationships enter if old emotional clutter remains? How can destiny opportunities land if the wrong people are still in your inner circle? How can clarity come if your spirit is drowning in noise? Clearing is not loss. Clearing is elevation. So chosen one, instead of fearing what is fading, trust it. Trust the distance, trust the silence, trust the endings. Trust the strange peace that follows the storm. Your soul is being positioned with precision for the next chapter. Your path isn't getting emptier. It's getting purer, holier, more aligned, more intentional. You are being prepared to walk into sacred territory, a place where only purpose, truth, and destiny can accompany you. And everything that cannot survive at that altitude is being lovingly removed. Chosen one, after the separation, after the release, after the quiet unraveling of everything you thought would stay forever, there is a moment when the world around you feels almost too still. The noise that once consumed your mind has vanished. The people who once filled your days have faded. The patterns that once defined your identity no longer hold power. And in that stillness, you might feel empty, unsure, exposed. But chosen one, that emptiness is not a void. It is holy ground. Because what awaits you after the separation is not loss. It is expansion. It is the space your soul has been needing so it can finally breathe, rise, and grow into the version of you that destiny has been calling forward. Have you noticed how, after a painful ending, something inside you feels strangely lighter, clearer, even if you can't explain why? That's because the separation didn't break you, it freed you. In this quiet aftermath, new blessings begin to form. Not loudly, but gently, like sunrise light creeping across a dark horizon. The relationships you're about to attract will not drain you, confuse you, or make you question your worth. They will recognize you. They will resonate with your frequency. They will match the depth, loyalty, and spiritual clarity you've always carried. Can you imagine the relief of finally connecting with souls who don't require you to shrink? Peace enters next. Not the peace that comes from temporary comfort, but the deeply rooted peace that comes from alignment, from being exactly where you're meant to be. Confusion dissolves, overthinking fades. The emotional noise you battled for so long falls silent, and suddenly you begin to see why the separation had to happen the way it did. Fast, unexpected, and undeniable. Because if it happened slowly, you would have tried to keep what was already collapsing. Then comes purpose, a sense of direction so clear that it almost scares you. Opportunities start appearing that match the new identity forming within you. Doors open that once felt sealed shut. Ideas flow with ease. Strength rises in places where you once felt fragile. And your spirit, once weighed down by connections that lacked alignment, now feels unstoppable. Chosen one, what is coming is not equal to what was lost. It is greater, deeper, and aligned with the version of you emerging through this transformation. The divine never removes without replacing, and what's coming next will not just fill the space, it will elevate it. It will validate every tear, every confusion, every quiet night you spent wondering why things fell apart. You are stepping into a season that requires space, maturity, and clarity, and heaven cleared that space for you. You did not lose people, you lost weight. You did not lose connections, you lost limitations. You did not lose support, you lost interference. And now, you are ready for destiny connections, ready for divine timing, ready for revelation, ready for the breakthrough that has been preparing itself behind the scenes. Chosen one, the separation was not an ending. It was an opening, a clearing, a sacred reset. And what is arriving next will make every loss make sense, in a way that will leave you grateful for every door that closed and every person who walked away.